you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for meeting with me. I have a student in my class named Bobby, and he has just kind of been out of control lately. He's just flopping to the floor whenever he has a demand.
Okay, well, I'm really glad that we have the opportunity to meet and to try to find a solution for this. And I just want to ask you a few questions regarding this behavior. So, can you remember a time when the last time, maybe if it happened today or yesterday, when Bobby threw himself on the floor when there was a demand?
Yes, it happened a couple of times today, a couple of times throughout the day with different demands, but mostly when it was like in the presence of a worksheet or some type of task.
Okay, so usually when there's a worksheet, was there anything specific that happened before Bobby engaged in this behavior?
He starts to say no, and then within a couple of seconds is down. So it's a very fast process.
Okay,
Definitely
so
no.
does he say no when the worksheet's placed in front of him, or just like when he knows that it's a time that you have to do a worksheet or a certain type of work?
He has a visual schedule, so he knows that the worksheet's coming up. So as soon as he finishes his last task in front of the worksheet, that's when the no occurs.
Okay, so what happens after? So he says no, and then he throws himself on the floor, and then what happens after that?
He's typically covering his face. We continue to place demands on him. He'll either say no or he just completely ignores the demand. And then eventually he will follow through, but after a while of non-compliance.
Okay. Um, so in this specific situation, do you feel like the worksheet is um, maybe what is representing him being non-compliant?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that, and also just trying to get out of the worksheet itself. So the worksheet
Okay.
is definitely the cause of it.
Okay. So, um, are there any other circumstances that during the day that he may portray this other than demand of like work from a worksheet or something like that?
Sometimes just if there's too much downtime between activities, um, he just drops. So I don't know if it's a lack of engagement or what that is, but there's been times where between number one and number two on his schedule has been a dropping.
Okay, so can you give me a specific example of what happened with that situation?
He had finished one task, I believe it was taking out trash, and he came back and sat down, and as I was looking for his um, marker so he could create a new schedule, he dropped to the floor.
Okay. Um, so are there any other incidents or behaviors that you feel we need to address? Or is it just that he's portraying this, throwing himself on the floor, trying to escape work? Is that the only behavior that you're concerned with?
I would say those two, the dropping and the escape, are the biggest, but also just accepting no. A lot of it comes from access. He wants his reinforcers at all times, so it might help to have some kind of accepting no something or other in his day.
Okay, so um, I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear all of that. In the first part, where you were talking about access to things that are reinforcing. Did you say that he has an excess access, like a lot of access to that reinforcement, or a lack of access?
Um, he has he has a schedule a VR of 3, so he's getting it quite often. But apparently to him it's not quite enough. So he wants it more than what he's getting.
Okay. So you're saying maybe understanding, maybe understanding when it is and isn't appropriate?
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. Well, are there any other things that you would like to share with me um, that might shed some light on the situation?
Mom has expressed that it isn't an issue at home,
Okay.
but he's not really getting any demands placed on him at home. So I think it all boils down to an escape function.
Okay. So at home, mom is saying that when it's time to do homework, he engages in this behavior.
He does not.
Oh, he does not.
Not at
Okay.
all.
Okay. I misunderstood what you said. Okay, well, that's really good to know. Um, all right, well, do you have any other concerns you would like to share with me?
Nope, that's about all of them.
Okay, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we are going to switch roles, and Lauren is going to be the interviewer, and I will be the interviewee.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I've been very concerned about Timmy's behavior in the class. We're a kindergarten classroom, and when it's time for circle time, Timmy will not sit upright on his bottom, crisscross applesauce like the other children will. He lays on the floor, and when we prompt him to sit up, he just lays right back down. And sometimes he doesn't even sit up for us when we prompt him to sit up. And so it's become very worrisome for me and for the environment of the classroom, not just for Timmy, but also for the other children.
Okay. Is there a specific time that you remember, or when was the most recent time that this behavior has occurred in the classroom?
This behavior happens every day, so it happened today. This morning when we came in, he's really good at following routine and coming to the classroom and putting his backpack up, and then we all come to the carpet to do a quick circle time. And during that time, he sits upright for a very short amount of time, and then he just lays down.
Okay. During this time when this behavior is occurring, how do the other children beside him typically react?
Um, Sometimes they want to lay down, and some children around him will tell me that, hey, Timmy's laying down again, or like they tell on him, or if he like touches another child, sometimes because it's a kindergarten classroom, they get irritated that he's touching them because he's taking up much more space laying down than he would sitting in an upright position. So
Okay.
it's definitely just.
And does it seem to bother him that the other children beside him are noticing this, or what is his appearance while he's on the floor?
No, he's just pretty much in his own world. He doesn't seem to be bothered at all what anyone's saying around him or anyone's asking him to do. He just continues to do what he wants to do.
Okay. What would you consider that the incident to be representative of this situation is? Why do you think he falls to the floor or wants to be laying down?
I think he just doesn't want to engage in the activities that we're engaged in. I do find that when he's a little bit more interested, like if I show a video during circle time, sometimes he'll sit up for a longer period of time. So um, he seems to be pretty just like he's trying to escape having to engage in what we're doing. He just doesn't want to do it. So he just lies down to escape that because he's not an easy one to prompt. When we prompt him to sit up, I have a student teacher in my classroom that will prompt him to sit up and then he won't. And even if she physically tries to sit him up, he just lies right back down.
Okay. Does he have any issues being engaged in the classroom when he's in a desk or in a different situation?
Um, he does try to walk away from his work, but he's easily redirected at a desk than he is on the carpet. He has much less difficulty at a desk than he does on the carpet.
Okay. And does he seem to have any of these issues at home to be engaged in any activities in the home, or is it strictly at circle time?
It's strictly at circle time.
Okay. Are there any other incidences where this behavior or behavior such as this occurs that you feel like should be brought to attention?
No, I don't. I feel like this is the most pressing situation and behavior that needs to be addressed right now.
Okay. What describe to me the routine or the situation that occurs right before circle time?
The students typically have breakfast in the cafeteria, and then we walk to the classroom, and the students put their backpacks in their cubbies, and then come and sit down on the carpet.
Okay.
And
And at circle time at the same time every day?
yes,
Okay. Okay. And then what happens right after circle time?
they get up and go to their desks to do some morning work, like a worksheet.
Okay. Do you have any other additional questions or any other issues you'd like to be brought to attention or like to be watched?
I do not. Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Okay, thank you very much too.